Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a critical new development for small businesses, LLCs, and corporations across the United States, the Corporate Transparency Act, or CTA, which came into effect on January 1st, 2024. If you're a small business owner, or even thinking of starting a business, this is something you cannot afford to ignore. In this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about the CTA, what the beneficial ownership information or BOI reporting requirements are, and the penalties for non-compliance. So let's get started. So what exactly is the Corporate Transparency Act? The CTA is a new law aimed at combating illegal activities like money laundering, tax evasion, and terrorism by requiring certain business entities to report their beneficial owners. Now, who are these beneficial owners? Simply put, these are the individuals who either own the business or have significant control over it. This law applies to most small businesses, LLCs, and corporations in the US, and it requires these entities to file a beneficial ownership information or BOI report with FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is part of the US Department of the Treasury. Now let's talk about who actually needs to file this BOI report. If you own an LLC, a small corporation, or any similar business entity, you are likely required to file a BOI report. Even if you own just one rental property in an LLC, you need to file. There are exceptions, though. For instance, large operating companies with more than 20 full-time employees and over $5 million in US-sourced income from the previous tax year are exempt. But for most small business owners, this filing is mandatory. Also, if you own multiple LLCs, you'll need to file a separate BOI report for each one. So what exactly do you need to report? The BOI report will ask for specific information about your business and its beneficial owners. This includes the full legal name, date of birth, and residential address of each beneficial owner, and a unique identifying number, which could be from a US passport, state driver's license, or other government-issued ID. The current street address of your business's principal place of business. Note that P.O. boxes and registered agent addresses won't be accepted. It's also important to mention that this information will be kept in a federal database called BOS, Beneficial Ownership Secure System, and will only be accessible by law enforcement and government agencies. It won't be made public, so your information is secure. Now let's talk about what happens if you don't comply with the CTA. The penalties are no joke. If you willfully fail to file a BOI report or provide false information, you could face civil penalties of up to $500 per day for each day the violation continues. That can add up really fast. And it doesn't stop there. Criminal penalties include fines up to $10,000 and even imprisonment for up to 2 years. This applies to both individuals and business entities, so it's crucial to get this right. Let's address some common questions and misconceptions. For example, do self-employed individuals need to file a BOI report? The answer is no, as long as you haven't formed an LLC or corporation for your business. Another question: what if my business doesn't have a physical address? You must report the current street address of your principal place of business, which means no P.O. boxes or care of addresses. So what should you do next? First, if you haven't already, determine whether your business is subject to these new reporting requirements. If you are, make sure you gather all the necessary information and file your BOI report with FinCEN as soon as possible. If you're unsure about any part of this process, consult with a legal professional, especially since this isn't covered by CPA liability insurance in many states and could be considered the unauthorized practice of law. It's better to be safe than sorry. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped clarify what the Corporate Transparency Act is and what you need to do to stay compliant. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow business owners, and subscribe to the channel for more updates on important business laws and regulations. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay compliant and stay informed.